Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Reagan, and welcome back to CRxOWN Talks, your dose of health and healing in Black communities. And in about 15 minutes or so, we clear up myths about Black health and break down the healthcare questions you wish you'd asked and the ish they should have told you. Now, to this point, most of my guests have been providers, healthcare providers, experts in the field of medicine, but little do people know they aren't the only experts in health. And today I want to bring a great trusted friend of mine to the stage and give her expertise with her lived experience around breast cancer. So I'm super excited to sit down and have this conversation with my beautifully Black, healthy, and crowned guest, Niasha Fray. Hey, Niasha.
Hey girl, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us today. Do you want to give a quick rundown of who you are and kind of what brought you to CRxOWN Talks?
Well, the number one thing that brought me to CRxOWN Talks is you, darling. Dr. Reagan Johnson. Dr. Reagan, is also acceptable, of course. But, we're podcast sisters, and we are health equity warriors together, addressing health equity issues through research, through practice, through patient advocacy, and through podcasting. And of course, I'm also the host of Questions You Didn't Ask podcast. And Dr. Reagan Johnson has also been a featured guest on my show, I'm proud to say. And in addition to those things, a part of my lived experience is that I'm a breast cancer survivor. And one of the things that's interesting as well is that before being a breast cancer survivor, I was a breast cancer researcher. And so this goes further into my lived experience, even in terms of my family experience and things of that sort. So I'm glad to be here to talk about breast cancer on CRxOWN Talks.
Yes, what a circle of life, right? I also want to shout out Questions You Didn't Ask, Niasha's podcast. We'll put the link into the chat so you can check it out. Really great information and guests that she has on her show as well. So let's get straight into the rundown. What's one myth about breast cancer that you want to clear up?
Well, I'm glad you asked this question, and I've had some time to think about it. And I think it's about especially African Americans' experience with cancer in general. And that is, if someone shares that they are experiencing a diagnosis of cancer, please don't immediately go to Dr. Seedy and CMOS treatment. Okay. There is a place for natural medicine. There's a place for acupuncture and Eastern medicine and non-traditional medicine in the cancer journey. I do not dismiss the health benefits that people experience when they take part in the wellness journey that is outlined by Dr. But I also know that cancer is a very serious disease that you should take very seriously. And as I like to say, put on the full armor of God. And that includes the science, the evidence, the clinical trials, as well as the natural and Eastern medicine practices. And so I believe that that should take a comprehensive and integrated approach to your journey, and to each his own, of course, but I just want to satisfy that little myth.
I love that. I love the idea of integrated because I do not shy away from Eastern medicine and holistic practices, even African traditions and those types of things are always really helpful. But I had this person ask me one time, what did people do before all this modern medicine? They died. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's what happened. They died. So I want to honor, some of you, of course, as a breast cancer survivor, but some of the people, specifically Ananda Lewis, who famously, rejected modern medicine, rejected even breast cancer screening. And towards the end of her life, I think she publicly said that she wished she hadn't done it. So I think that's a great myth to bust. So thank you for bringing that up. Now, can you walk us through how you first found out something was wrong and kind of what that moment was like?
Yes. Had been starting to come out of a very tumultuous time in my life. And I was getting ready to take a scaled back, what much needed and deserved family getaway to the beach. And when I scaled back, we always have times in our life of plenty if we're blessed. And so this was like a scaled back version because I'm coming out of a lot of tumultuousness in my life. And I'm like, I need a vacation, but I can't do it like I usually do, right? So we're enjoying, but before we leave, I was just, taking care of myself. right? I can't really remember if it was me in the shower or probably putting on lotion or something of that sort. And I felt something in my left breast. And I said, I don't remember that being there before. And I have had experiences with my family, different family members dealing with cancer. And so I kept it to myself. I enjoyed the trip. I came back. I contacted my primary care physician and he immediately made time for me. And I'm very thankful for that. When he did his examination, he confirmed that he felt something and he was concerned. And so I'm thankful as well that he immediately referred me to get a mammogram. And so I went through that process of getting a mammogram. This was my first mammogram. I was 39 years old. And which means I was before the recommended age.
Right.
Women should be receiving mammograms. And so, it was a long day for me. It was a long day for me when I went to get that mammogram. And it set in motion the process of all of the steps of diagnosis. And that also include biopsies, more than one mammogram screening. So there was a deep, thoughtful analysis of what was going on to the point that I met with and talked with the actually surgical oncologist who was the director of that cancer center about my diagnosis. And so that's where it started. I'll just pause there for a moment because I think that those early moments and experiences with how you feel changes in your body matter. And I just want to give a moment of pause there in case there's some other things that you want to ask.
Yeah, I think there's a lot there. Thank you for sharing. So 39, which the recommended age for women is 40. So it was like a year before. So luckily you were doing kind of that self-care, self-maintenance of regular breast exams, even if it wasn't regular. At some point, you're touching your breast in order to see and notice a change or a difference. So that's something I think that we really need to address with women out there or people who have breasts to say, you should be touching and checking your breast at some point so that typically you're the first person that's going to notice a difference if there's a difference to be noticed. And then the treatment plan, it looks like the initial screening, I'll say not treatment, was a mammogram. And I just want to share with women who have very dense breasts, like I have really dense breasts. So I typically get a mammogram and an ultrasound to capture tissue because the density of my breast, you can't really see as well on the mammogram. The ultrasound works as a second kind of screener to maybe catch things the mammogram can't.
Yes, that is very important to understand. And it's not anything that, I think people know about, do I have dense breasts or not? Unfortunately, I don't have that expertise to be able to tell you. I just know that through my experience, I was also informed that I have dense breasts. And so when I get my mammograms, even now, I make sure that it's a diagnostic level and that it's comprehensive. And that is due to not only my history, but also just the physical makeup of my breasts.
Yeah. Now, you said too that you had a family history of cancer. Did you have family history of breast cancer or other types of cancers?
So with my family, I have history of cancer on both sides of my family. On my mother's side, there is a history of breast cancer and I believe ovarian cancer. Then on my father's side, there is quite a bit of cancer of different types. And it's very interesting to me how many of my father's side of my family encountered cancer at a young age. And so that is something that is noticeable, I think.
I think that's another myth too. We've talked about this on some of my other episodes about the age at which you're diagnosed or the age at which you first notice something. And that age seems to be getting younger and younger as time goes on. And we can get into all the various reasons why, but that's a podcast in and of itself. But to think about earlier screenings, earlier self-maintenance and those types of things, and thinking about what your family history is that may put you at a position to need to get those screenings even earlier than what is currently recommended. Now, are you comfortable sharing what treatment looked like for you?
I don't mind sharing that. So I was diagnosed initially with a very aggressive form of cancer. And one of the things that I have to share about cancer is that just merely being young makes that particular cancer aggressive. I was not what traditionally you hear about with breast cancer patients of being triple positive. I'm fortunate that I did not have that journey to fight. But I was what they call triple negative, Later, I found out that there was another variation that was hiding up under that. So that prolonged my cancer treatment. But I
Oh,
did
wow.
go through a full scale chemo treatment, very intensive chemo. And then also, I was able to have a lumpectomy. I was fortunate that I did not have to go down the journey of having a mastectomy of any type. So that's something that I want people to understand, that breast cancer, there are ways to spare your breast, and it depends on the type of cancer that you have and the type of treatment that's required in order to save your life. So those are the things, those are some of the variations. Everyone's cancer journey is different. And then following my lumpectomy, I did have a full course of aggressive radiation. Following that, I also had an additional oral medication that I was taking, as well as I mentioned, after the surgery and they did the full analysis of what they removed, they found another type of cancer. So I had to go through radiation and then another year of an additional chemo treatment to address that second type, to make sure that it did not come back and that they had completely eradicated it from my system. So it was a very long journey, as well as taking a full course of anti-estrogen medication for at least 5 years.
Yeah, wow, that was a long journey, it sounds like, and tumultuous. So, how did you really handle the emotions, the maybe even fear of maybe not getting better or cancer spreading or recurrence, even at this stage?
So many emotions. Yes, so many emotions. It was my first time staring the possibility of death in the face. I had a very young daughter who has a disability, and she is the love of my life. She was my focus and my anchor. I know that she needs me. I want to be here for her, but also my mother, and just my own love for life. That was major. So I think one of the most important things that helped me was mental health care. I was fortunate that the Cancer Care Group Center Institute that I was a part of for my treatment treated the whole person and the family. So we had programs where my mom and my daughter could go to talk about what was happening with me, where I could talk with other parents who were talking about what they were going through as parents and caregivers of a person dealing with cancer. And it was all types of cancer, all types of kids. But we had this thing in common, and we were able to socialize and also receive some one-on-one therapy and treatment by healthcare providers, mental health care providers that were specialized in working with people who were going through their cancer journey. I experienced something that I believe is common in this area because people have access to it, like myself, but it is far too uncommon across the United States and the world in terms of how we treat people and their families as whole people. And so it was very important for me also to create boundaries with my mom and my daughter about what I shared about my fears. So that was also one of the benefits of having a mental health care professional to speak to, that I could be completely honest without worrying about how my honesty would affect them mentally, my loved ones. And it also made me start thinking about my planning. Who would take care of my daughter if something happened to me? What resources were available within my family to make sure that she was okay? And so even though, you have faith and you're believing and you're fighting and you're giving it your all, you have to deal with what's really happening and the threat that is right there at your doorstep. Forget it. It's in your body. It's not even at the doorstep. It's in your body. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's really, really good though, too. And probably one of the things that's super important is being able to be honest with someone while not feeling like you're either burdening them or burdening yourself with how they will react to your feelings. That was really, really good. Thank you. And so it sounds like you had a really good process, healthcare team, wraparound, integrative treatment. For those who may not have that, what is advocacy? You and I talk a lot about health equity and making sure that people have what they need, when they need it, and how they need, and from who they want to have it from. So what would advocacy look like for someone who maybe didn't have your experience?
So advocacy means, especially for Black women, use your network. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, because what happened to me in real time was that I had friends come to me and say, I know this woman and And it didn't happen just one time. People know that I want to help and I understand health equity issues. I understand health disparities. I understand the health system. They know that about me. And that's just my personality. Not everybody wants to share, but for those who do, there's power in that. Okay. And so they came to me and said, this woman is about to lose her life. This woman is about to lose her mind. These doctors have given up on her. And for each of them, I was able to make some phone calls. And that is important. We have to know that our village, spiritual, get your prayer warriors together, please. And get your prayer life on point, please. And speak to the creator and to our network and say, I need help. And I know that there's a better way, because it is 100% sure that people are being left behind, falling through the cracks. Doctors are making mistakes. Systems are ignoring people. I'm thankful that I can say, I know that there is a better way, and I know people who can help make that happen for you. And that has been across state lines if need be.
Yeah. I think that is a huge takeaway from this is I need help. And so many times people, for whatever reasons, want to do things alone. They don't want to share what they're going through. They don't want to ask for help. But sometimes we all need help. You know what I mean? Like, and I know for me, some things that I've gone through, me just saying it out of my mouth was freeing in a lot of ways. So I think that we have to be more comfortable with saying, I need help. And on the other side, people have to be willing to share resources, get on the phone if you need to for someone and all that. Yeah. So last question before we move into rapid round. What, praise be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you are cancer free now. How did your definition of healthy change? Or did it?
It's interesting, right? Sometimes, I think that healthy means being thankful to be alive. Healthy means I just think a lot of gratitude. And so with that, you try to make decisions that mean that you are happier, you have more peace, you have joy, you feel comfortable with who you are. When you look in the mirror, you can say, I like you. And that might mean that you change your diet. It might mean that you don't, that and so it might mean that you go out and enjoy nature more. And that means that you're hiking or walking a trail. That might mean that you're taking full advantage of what you've been blessed with and you're traveling more. But you're thankful for the life that you live and you don't take it for granted. And you strive to be your best person because you know that it could have been a different way.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. All right, now let's head into rapid fire. Names, just first thing that comes to mind. One thing you wish you'd known sooner.
I think that my woman, lady, girl, femininity was going to be like, I went through it, child. It was a whole thing, but I made some discoveries about being a woman and how to better care for myself. Right. And I even did a show about it. Y'all have to check it out.
Yeah, we need the link to that.
Ageless intimacy.
We definitely will drop the link to ageless intimacy. What's the hardest part of treatment that people don't talk about?
I think that in some cases for cancer, I didn't realize how much of a quote unquote chronic disease it is, because the process and the journey goes on for many years after you're considered cancer free.
Best advice for someone newly diagnosed?
Not everybody's situation is as dramatic as the one that I described. Okay. Some people only need a little of this and a little of that, and it's good to go. Some people need a whole lot of this and a whole lot of that. But there is such good science and research that's out there that's helping to make this process something that you can survive and something you can get through. So are on the latter end where things are going to be hard for a while, armor up, put on your full armor and get ready to fight. And you just believe that you can make it, and keep communicating with your doctors and making sure you get what you need.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, before we close out, what would you tell someone who feels a lump but is afraid to go get it checked?
I think the same thing. You rather know, and be able to do something about it. Be a boss. Go face that thing.
Yeah.
Figure out what it is.
Figure out.
And keep it moving. It might not be nothing.
Yeah. It could be. I had a lump when I was like 20 something and it was nothing. So yeah, go get it checked out. I don't know why I'm not going to be able to let this go. Give us one tip from Ageless Intimacy.
Okay, there is a specialist called a pelvic physical therapist. Girls, go see you one and get your lady exactly how you want her for as long as you want it.
Oh, okay. Now, I know y'all gonna want to go listen to that episode conceptually. Right. So thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you to Niasha for being here and sharing her journey, her story. Here's your crown check for today. Your body is talking. You're not imagining it. Lived experience is expertise. If something feels wrong, keep asking until someone listens, even if that someone got to be your own self. Okay. For folks listening who are ready to get screened or want more info, we'll drop a few links in the episode notes. But even if you don't have insurance, you can usually check your area for free mammograms. They often call it the little pink bus that rides around the city, but you should be able to look for that in your own cities. This has been your health check-in with CRxOWN Talks. If you love this, follow Cover Your Crown or CRxOWN Talks wherever you get your podcasts medicine. Share it with someone who needs to listen and subscribe. Consider yourselves crown secured.